Annunaki Story, The Lost Book of Enki, Episode 1. The instruments of dread have been employed. Sumer is in ruins, and all existence has transformed into death. Enki, the supreme deity, opted to summon his chosen one, the master scribe, Endubzar. Following Endubzar's abduction, Enki commenced speaking. A burdensome spirit envelops me. Sorrowful laments fill my heart. The terrain is barren. Sumer has been annihilated. Corpses are accumulating. The malevolent wind, the great catastrophe, eradicated the people and all lands. In rivers, nothing stirs any longer. The pure, glistening waters turned into poison. Death is the soul sent here. Life is no more, and only the wind whispers. The towering and majestic temples were deserted by their deities. There is no command scepter, and crowns are absent. On the shores of the two great rivers, once flourishing with life, now only weeds sprout. Humanity had never witnessed such a spectacle. It is disheartening to acknowledge that where a city, the abode of gods and men, once stood, now only ruins emerge. The destructive hand of terror has descended upon every city from west to east. It was a malevolent wind, a tempest born on a distant plain, a great catastrophe trailing its course. A death wind, a devouring storm. It resembled a deluge, but with wind and poisoned air instead of water. It was chance, not destiny, that dictated this course. The great gods, in their council, opted for the great catastrophe, and so they unleashed it. Enlil and Ninmah, my beloved ones, permitted it. I pleaded for all destruction to cease. I argued day and night, but it was futile. Ninurta, the martial son of Enlil, and Nergal, my own son, unleashed the instruments of dread and released the great poison across the plain. Now, they cry out in anguish. No one could have foreseen that the malevolent wind born from the west would reach the east. In the sacred cities, one after another, the gods deserted their cities and vacated their temples. In Eridu, my city, I could do nothing to halt the cloud of poison migrating toward me. Unsuccessful in halting the great destruction, my wife Ninki and I abandoned the city. As soon as the malevolent wind reached Nippur, Enlil and his wife hastily departed and survived in their ship. At the city of Yor, the seat of Sumerian royalty, Nannar implored Enlil to prevent the wind of death from dictating fate. But Enlil stated that not even he, the decider of fates, could prevent it. Enlil, Nannar, and his wife Ningal also departed the city. For those who follow my lament for Sumer, understand that the great flood was destined to occur. However, the great catastrophe, the wind of death, was not. The breaking of a promise led to the decision of a council of the gods, and the instruments of dread were sanctioned. It was a decision, not fate. Let that be clear. It was against Marduk, my beloved firstborn son, that destruction was decreed. Enlil's firstborn declared his opposition and threatened to use weapons. Consequently, an army arose, and Babylon was established as the world's center. In the council of the Annunaki, disputes were constant and escalating. I have consistently opposed confrontation and advocated for peace. I vehemently argued that Marduk's time had arrived. The heavens heralded the advent of their era. However, Ningishzada, another of my sons, contended that the heavens foretold different signs. I knew his heart could not forgive Marduk's transgressions against him. Nannar, Enlil's son, had also been relentless. Thus, all the great gods, one by one, expressed their opinions. Disputes were extensive, and accusations and insults were exchanged in every dark and hidden corner of Annunaki life. Even Inanna was beside herself, demanding Marduk's punishment for the murder of her beloved Dumuzi. It was Ninurta who finally made his voice heard, asserting that Marduk would only be stopped through the use of weapons. Enlil's firstborn was furious, and not only him. In reality, the assembly of the Great Annunaki discussed that Marduk must not reach the weapons of dread before the others. Nergal, Lord of the Netherworlds, advocated for the use of weapons, declaring, "Let the ancient instruments of dread be used for destruction." I was profoundly saddened, unable to comprehend what had transpired before my eyes. Instead of agreement, there was silence. Enlil, my brother, finally broke the sacred silence in the assembly of the gods, declaring that chastisement must befall.